I'm tasked with a duty, it should be to talk about how to earn or how to get high-paying clients. First question, who thinks it's possible to make 100 million naira in 2025? Almost everybody thinks it's possible to make 100 million. Question number 2, who here will make 100 million in 2022? Or 2025, rather? Almost the same number of hands. Who made 25 million in 2024? See, the hands have dropped. So if you made 10, 5, how do you think you can make 100? From 10? I'm here to tell people the bitter truth. It's not possible. Because the clients that got you to 10 million cannot get you to 100. Whatever you did to get to 10 will not get you to 100. Which brings me to some ideas I want you to think about. As photographers, when we start out, we ask us to build portfolio, right? Isn't that the thing? Build what? And after you build portfolio, what do? You market it, right? I want this to be very interactive so you can get the best out of it. Build a portfolio, right? And the next thing is what? Market it. But do you know that we are the only set of quote-unquote entrepreneurs that create a product first before looking for who to buy it? Hello? Do you believe that? Every other entrepreneur understands that they need to get a market for something. Figure out whether that market is viable, meaning they will not just get one client. They can get clients over and over and over again before they go to now do what? Build the product. But all of us, including me, that's what I used to do. So for 1 year, 3 months, I always tell people, I had photographs, projects as a documentary photographer that was up there. Everybody that you know that has to do with documentary photography, they know who I was. They knew me. But nobody hired me. 0. Like 0 clients for 1 year, 3 months. I had a total of 16 projects. If it's projects, I had it. But nobody was hiring me. How come that my professional colleagues, or in short, this time, people that are way, 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 way higher than me then, were like, you're the guy. They loved it. Normal people, these works are great. Me, myself, I know that I did well. But the money was not coming. And I figured out that I missed out on a very important part of the business, which is I built a product first. And I was starting now to look for who to buy it. Every single one of us here does that same mistake. We build a portfolio, and then we start looking for who needs it. But the idea I'm going to explain to you today is something that will change your business, change mine, and it's changed a lot of the people that I've coached, I've mentored into doing numbers. I will talk numbers here and it would blow your mind, right? But you need to understand that the first thing you need to ask yourself is who? Before you do anything. You know, Simon Sinek has a book that says start with why. But I'm telling you today, start with who. Until you're able to figure out who you are trying to serve, you will not make money. You might say, but Mayor, I made money the last year now. That's not the kind of money I'm talking about here. I'm sure one of my people that came for my clarity session is sitting right there. Right there. He can tell you the impact of that 5-hour session that it did in the revenue of his business. 5 hours. You start with who? That's why I said today is going to be something that will blow your mind, because we've had conversations, and even here, they were mentioning things like you need to build value, right? That money does what? Goes towards value, isn't it? How do you know what value means to someone if you don't know who that person is? Because what value means to you is far, far different from what it means to me, depending on what use I want that thing for. So the most important thing you need to think about as you move from being a creative person to a creative entrepreneur, you need to think about the who, right? And that brings me to the idea of there's a difference between being a freelancer and being an entrepreneur. And the two, they are good, but you just need to know which one you are. Not all of us will be entrepreneurs, and that's fine. We need to accept that. What is an entrepreneur? Entrepreneur is someone that creates jobs for people. Our job as entrepreneurs is not to do the job. Our job is to get people to do the job. Our job is what? To get people, motivate them, inspire them, and lead them to do what? To do the job. That's the work of an entrepreneur. A freelancer at the other end is someone that gets paid when he shows up. If he does not show up, or if she doesn't show up, she does not get paid. Do you understand? And the three things that have to back up the freelancer part is that you need to understand that a freelancer needs three things. It needs the skill, it needs the tools, and it needs what we call reputation. Those are the three things a freelancer needs. Whereas an entrepreneur needs all the things Mr. Tunji spoke about in the morning. Do you understand? So when you're trying to do something, you need to figure out who are you. Then that brings us back to the people that you're trying to serve. Who are you trying to serve? I want to explain something to you. That once you know the who, what we call value will now make sense to you. Until you know the who, the next question you need to ask yourself, what is value to those people? Hello? After the who you're trying to serve, what's the next thing? What is value to those people? Not everybody, but for the people you have actually said, these are the people I want to serve. Does that make sense? I will give an example. Value to someone that doesn't have a lot of money, but wants photographs, is cheap and affordable. They don't have time for all those you have to talk to my secretary, you need to go through a certain process, you need to do this, you need to do that, I'm going to use Retouch Academy. That's why when they come to your DM, the first thing they ask you is, how much do you charge? The most important thing to them, what those people consider as value, is cheap and affordable. How can I get this photograph done for my birthday and I don't have to spend all of my money doing it? That's value to them. If you don't know that, you'll be spending all your time trying to communicate to them as if you're communicating to someone that wants something else. That's why when you go back and tell them, we do this, we do that, we do this, they still go back and say, you're not listening to me. I'm asking you, how much do you charge? Don't you have clients like that? Or people that send you inquiries like that? They are just bent on the price. And I always tell people, if I played in that field, I will win every single day of the week. Because I understand what value means to the person, right? And once you come to my DM and ask me, how much do you charge? Let's say I was charging 50K, right? Normally. So once you come to my DM and ask me, how much do you charge? I say, normally we charge 70,000. But right now we are running a promo. Between today and Friday, if you book, is 50K, and you would save 20,000 naira. I will not tell them this is the discount that you're getting. They don't understand 10% discount, 20. All they want is how much am I going to save? So until you know who they are, you will not be able to communicate what they consider as value. There's another person. Value to that person is, I want my friends to know that I have arrived. And some of those people are here. In fact, most of us here are in that group. Once you make money, you throw away your Windows systems and buy what? A Mac. Do you have a Mac here? How many photographers use MacBook here? Why do you throw away your Windows? It said it was lacking. That's what we tell ourselves. But the truth is, you look at conversations we have every other day. Nobody says, oh, once I get home, I'll get on my laptop and I'll send you the thing. They just go, oh, once I get home, I'll get on my MacBook and I'll send it to you. Why did they use the MacBook instead of a laptop? Are they not the same thing? But because once you mention the laptop, it degrades you. But once you mention a MacBook, so there are some people, value to them is status and affiliations. I want to belong or I want to stand out. If you don't know that about them, you will not make money. Are we together? Another person, when I used to do headshot photography, I've given the story before. Some of the people that I used to photograph for the headshot, they don't have time. So the executive assistant would tell me, my boss has 20 minutes and that's all. Are you going to be able to do it? I'm like, bro, I'll set up, photograph the headshot, bring it down in 20 minutes, and I'm out. Value to that client is not cheap and affordable. Value to that client is not even affiliations and status. Value is time. Will this guy save my time? So until you're able to know, once you know the who, ask yourself, what is value to those people? Does that make sense? Hello? I don't want to confuse anybody. I just want to make sure that I'm explaining in very simple terms that we all understand. Does that make sense? So we know the who, right? We know I can give you an example of the status thing. People cancel their wedding dates waiting for a photographer to be available. Haven't you heard it? Why did they do that? Which brings me to, I want to get everybody to this 100 million first, but I need to explain a few things to you so that it will make sense whether you will get here or not. So let's talk about value, right? Value, how would I put it? Let's say it's about three things. We have the use value of a thing. We have the exchange value of a thing. And we have the symbolic value of a thing. Three types. So every time that people ask you to add value in your photography, your videography, whatever you do to make more money, what they are actually selling to you is do any of these three things. The use value, the exchange value, and the symbolic value. Does that make sense? Are we still following here? We know the who, right? Now we are trying to figure out what is value to them. So you need to know that that value is in three places. The use value, the exchange value, and the symbolic value. Use value of a thing. Look at this marker, for example. The use value of this marker is to write on this board. Isn't it? What's the use value of a photograph? What? So if I'm a client, my birthday is coming, and there's a photographer that charges ₦1 million for a photograph, and there's this one that charges 100K for photographs. What is in that photograph that is the use value between these two people? Is it not the pictures? That's the use value. You get it, it's either you frame it, you print it, or you post it on your socials. Right? That's the use value. It's not more than that. But you need to also understand that there is a biro that is not for 300 naira. Right? Why are they not for 300 naira? Because they have moved past the use value part. I need you to understand that nobody pays premium for use value. Nobody. Nobody will pay you premium just because you offer them something that can write on the board. Does that make sense? So every time, I always have this, how call it, this drive to tell photographers that when they tell you to, because every time you think about, I need to increase my value, the first thing you think about is I need to upgrade my skill. And the skill you're thinking about is not any other skill, but the technical skill. So you need to be better at retouching, you need to be better at maybe lighting, you need to be better at composition, color, scheme. All of those things fall under the use value. Have you not seen how someone with a great photograph, good colors, good retouching, but he cannot command premium fee? Command premium fee. Have you not seen many of them? Or use yourself as an example. Have you not gone for an upgrade class? Now you know. Like you know that your pictures are better. You know it. But nobody wants to pay you that price. Because what you're selling is here. That's why you're always explaining to your clients, I'm going to photograph with 100 mm. I'm going to photograph with a full frame. Bruh, anybody can make photographs. I think Emmanuel Yeleke said it here, right? He told you guys that anybody can make photographs. There is not the pictures. There is something else. Isn't it? The pictures fall into the use value. Nobody would pay you ₦1 million for use value. The other part is the exchange value. The exchange value is, what's the value of your time for that thing as compared to another industry? For example, why should I pay you 500,000 naira for 2 hours? Whereas someone that goes to the office 5 times a week, 4 weeks in a month, does not even get half of that. Make it make sense. Does it? Someone would dress up in the morning, wear suit and tie, enter road, go to the office, sit down 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, enter road again, gets back by 10 p.m. in Lagos, wakes up the next morning by 5, and he will do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It repeats the same. And in some months that you have 5 Fridays, you know what that means. And their salary is not 500. But you want to carry a camera and come and photograph for 2-3 hours and charge 500. Does it make sense to you? Does it? Will you pay someone knowing that you go to the office every day and you cannot charge that, but someone just wants to go? And most of the time we are younger people, so this small boy, this small girl. Do you see the problem now? Because it's the exchange value. There's no money there because we are comparing it to something. And the thing we are comparing it to, those people work hard. I know professors in universities that their salary is not up to 500,000, like their take-home salary. Do you know what level you have to be in the civil service to earn 500K? A permanent secretary does not earn 500K. And that's like level 16, 17. Do you know how long it takes to get there? So the problem is we always play around here. So I won't talk about the exchange and the use value because they didn't say we should talk about how to get low-paying clients. They said we should talk about how to get high-paying clients. And this is where they are, symbolic value. Until what you do can give them three things. Either of the three things or together of the three things, you might not make money there too. So the first thing you need to think about is personal dreams. The second thing is status. The third thing is affiliations. So when we come to every human being, this is me risking not going to psychology, but every human being have their wants, they have their needs, they have their desires, and they have their dreams. Every human being has what? Wants, needs, desire, and what? Dreams. The highest level of this is when you sell dreams to them. That's why when you heard Oluwadabes said, you expand the vision for them. What he meant by you expanding the vision for them is to listen to your dream and then sell it back to them. Hello? Let's go back. It's like we are confused a bit. Are we? The wants. Wants are things that normally, like if I ask you what you want now, you want a full frame from Canon. Mirrorless, right? That's your want. If I say, what do you need right now? It might actually be that you need a better MacBook, right? If I now ask you, what's your desire? Like things, maybe you'll be able to reach in maybe like 5-10 years. You have a different thing to the first two, right? Then, and I'll ask you, what's your dream? I think the MC was asking someone here, if budget was not the problem, that's dreams. Dreams are free. There is no budget around it. So when people want to do something, they have their wants, they have their needs, they have their desire, they have their dreams. The first thing you need to talk to them about, if you want to make that money, is to talk to them about their dreams. If I ask you your dream, you have a very lofty one, isn't it? So imagine you telling me about your dreams and I'm able to sell it back to you. Because as photographers, you need to understand that clients are human beings and they think like humans. Not that their ideas are stupid, not that their ideas are not good enough, they are just humans. You are a little more elevated from them, higher humans, because you can interpret things into visual forms. Does that make sense? And the stories that stick in our minds are the stories that were presented to us visually. So once a client tells you about their ideas, their dream wedding, their dream 50th birthday shoot, their dream that, your job is to then make sure you visualize it. Make them see. Like, let them feel the words that they said to you. Do you understand? So some people call it visual words. You need to use, and the people that use visual words very well are people that write novels and all of that. Have you ever read a novel and you felt like you were inside the room they were describing? Because those are visual words. So your job is to understand, how can I use visual words to sell back the dreams that these clients has told me in such a way that at first they used to think, oh, I want a fairy tale wedding. Now they can see themselves in the dress, right at that position they wanted. And they can see the photograph. That's your job. Does that make sense? So you now see that for you to be able to now maybe attract or convince or land high-paying clients, you don't sell them via DMs. Because in DMs, you will not be able to get them to tell you about their dreams so that you can now sell it back to them. Have you heard photographers always say, when you book us, we go on a consultation call? What do you think they do there? Every big photographer you know that makes all the money that you want to make, they do that consultation call. It's a must in that onboarding process. Why do you think that is? Because they want the client to tell them the dream. And they know that they are able to turn those dreams into visual elements so that the person, the client in this case, will not forget it. So at that point, the client is making decisions based upon emotions, not logic. Logically, it doesn't make sense to pay you $1 million. But now I've sold you your own dreams. You can't unsee it. So what you're now doing is that you have a scale of balance, right? So you put the money that I'm telling you this way, and you put what I sold to you this way. I think Mayor Otu mentioned the fact that you don't put the price first. You sell them something else. You sell them their dreams. So that by the time you give them your price, they will have something to put on the scale against. And every single time, the emotions will always win. But they will now look for something that they will use to justify that emotions. But most of our photographers, we are worried about the logic. So we are worried about the deliverables, the photo books, the frames. Those things are used to persuade a logic mind that they made the right decision. But they themselves, they know. Even you know that MacBook you are buying, there's a window system that is better than that. You know, but you convince yourself, by yourself, that what? That MacBook is better. So while the people that were working on the Windows systems were working on the use value of that thing, guess what Steve Jobs were working on? The symbolic value. What that thing would do to you. First of all, sells you dreams. The next thing gives you status, which is the next thing I'm talking about, status. Can this thing make us belong to a certain social strata that we can say, me and you, we know be what? We know be mates. Where do you think they got that favorite thing, I better pass you my neighbor thing from? Status. Why? Let's go back to cameras, right? I'm sorry. Can I mention another camera brand? Is it possible? Okay. For the purpose of this example, right? There is Nikon. I will not mention our powerful brand. So that I want to use a brand that something can look bad, right? Anyway, there's Nikon, right? Or Nikon. The use value of a camera, we agree, is to take pictures, right? But there's Nikon and there's Leica. How much is Nikon? $2,000, right? How much is Leica? $15,000. Why are we selling Leica for 15 and selling Nikon for 2 when the use value is just to take pictures? Have you thought about that? Because the photographers that have arrived use it as a symbol of status. So every time you see a photographer pull up a Leica, he or she has arrived. It's a trophy. It's not a camera for pictures alone. It's a trophy. And the people that made it understood that part really well. So they're not trying to play in the general market where everybody buys. They play for a certain category of people. And every time, everyone seated right here, you get to a point where you aspire to buy it. Not because you want it, but it will look good. And people that own Leicas, they don't put it in their pouch. They hang it. It's a badge of honor. And that has nothing to do with use value. Does that make sense now? Will that thing give you status? I could use an example I'd used before with my guy there. I always ask people, I think I use in my Clarity Life. Vicky James, who knows her? She brought Saeed, a fashion photographer from Dubai, to make photographs for my wedding. Do you think she brought her for the use value? Okay, let me rephrase and say it again in a better way. She brought Saeed. Saeed made photographs of that wedding, posted it. Under the comments, communities, I was seeing photographers saying, the Nigerian wedding photographers, they will clear this guy. This guy will do what? Sabi. And of a truth, there are Nigerian wedding photographers that will clear the guy. But the question is, will those photographers give Vicky the status she wanted? Do anybody know how much that guy charges? So I'll give you context. Huh? Is it 20? It's $30,000. 30. She paid him $30,000, flew him from Dubai to Lagos for that wedding so that she can say that I am not your mate. Every single time someone chooses Emmanuel over someone else is because they can use Emmanuel to brag. Every time someone suspends or changes the date of their wedding to higher beige is because they can use beige to brag. That is what symbolic value is, status. Or the third part, affiliations, me and my gang. This is how we roll. Parents do this a lot. They have a certain school they send their kids to. So if we are friends, we make sure that our kids go to the same school. Not because of the kids, because of us. I just had a baby. He's 8 months now. Thank you. But the part I want to tell you about that thing is that he doesn't know anything about the quality of the clothes he wears. But guess who does? And guess who buys it? Even when I know that a month later, it will not fit him. What did I do? I bought it after all. Why? Is it for the baby? So that I can also say, as a dad, I bought that kind of thing for who? My child. Affiliations. You say, Mercedes-Benz gang. You see all their friends, they just drive Mercedes-Benz. So even when you don't want to own one, once all your guys or all the people that you feel that you're in the same space with drives that, that's all you want. There's a certain group of criminals. That's what they are. Yeah, that's what they are. All those people that do internet fraud, they are thieves, right? But they have a certain kind of car they drive. And people always wonder, why do you know that people always profile them for a particular kind of car and they still go ahead to do what? To buy it. Affiliations. People like us, we do things like this. Back to what we were saying. Until you're able to build personal dreams, status, and affiliations into your product, which now is your portfolio, you will not make money. I think that's the third time I've said about you not make money. Are we still here? So every time you want to get, because once you understand all of this, it will affect a lot of other things that, these are the strategies. The other things are just tactics to execute it. So this will influence what you say, how you say what you say, right? It will influence positioning. Where do you go to? How do you go there? How do you network? So you don't network necessarily in some places. You network in some other places. Because when it comes to high-paying clients, it is not the thing that pays the money. It is the things around the thing. I did a particular, what's it called now? I did like, what do we call that thing? When you're trying to, like science students, what do you call that thing? Experiment? Yeah. So I did an experiment. So as a documentary photographer, people always, my work sometimes are in galleries and all of that. So I decided so that I can learn something and also be able to teach it someday. You know these people that sell pictures in traffic? I gave them one of my pictures. I printed it, best quality print, framed it, gave it to them, and they sold it for 80,000 naira. A couple of months later, a curator asked me about some photographs for an exhibition. I sent in a couple of photographs, and the person chose one of those ones that I've sold. So I just told the guy, there is no longer a one-of-one. There is an edition now. He said, it should have been a one-of-one. I said, I've sold one before, so it's an edition of 10. So he said, that's not a problem. They will take it into the exhibition and that. That work, the same picture, the same photographer, the same print, the same everything, but in a different room, sold for 1.8 million. Nothing changed. I did not make a new photograph. So I'm trying to make you understand that there are places you would be and you will not get the high-paying client. Not because the work is not necessarily good, because the pictures were the same. It's just that one was in traffic and the other one was in a hall, white walls, pointed light, glasses, and all of that. And of course, the MC that was doing the auction was not someone that was running after somebody in traffic. He wore a suit and a tie. The same picture. Not even a one-of-one, you say, I'm the only person that will own this photograph. It's an edition of 10. 10 other people will own it. So what I'm trying to tell you is that once you build the portfolio and understand what value means to those people, you need to position yourself. If you're positioned in the wrong place, you will suffer. But my goal for you is not to suffer. Right? So once you finish building this, ask yourself, how can I now because the goal is now between communication and messaging. Now you know the value that you're bringing, status, dreams. You need to communicate it, and you need to write your messaging in a way that it works. So let's go from top again so that we know we are following before we try. So the first thing you need to do is to discard the idea that you need to build a portfolio and then look for people to sell to, right? But this other part work better. Know who. I would love to maybe have a case study. I will give you a case study so that you understand what I mean. Have a who first. Understand what value means to them. And then in your messaging and in your communication, in the service, because when the panelists were here, we're talking about the service you deliver. The service will not be the same as yours and yours because we are not the same people. And of course, we might not even be targeting the same people. So what the service you would render would be different from what he will render. But the final work might look the same because it's photographed. But the things that are around it, some people might want more affiliations and personal dreams. Some other people might want more status and affiliations. But you just need to understand who these people are and what value means to them. Does that make sense? And then you communicate it in how you go forward from there. Part 3. You need to understand that there are people that don't know about you. No matter how good you are, they know. You don't exist. But the other people that know about you, maybe in passing, the other people that know about you and they are willing to do business with you. And that is the most, all of us always go to. The people that know about us and are willing to do business with us, because those are the people that come to make inquiries. How about the people that know you, but they have not come to make inquiries? And how about the people that don't even know you at all? So when you're trying to create marketing content, always put them in those 3 buckets. This guy don't know about me. What can I do? Which now brings us to that idea I told you about reputation, right? Why they would choose one person and not choose the other person is reputation. And I used to love maths in school. So if I'm thinking about reputation, I'm thinking about result multiplied by reach. So That's how I think about repetition. Results multiplied by reach. That thing that you do, remember I said it will give you an idea of how to now communicate. So every time you do a shoot and you're doing testimonial videos and you're asking your client, how was the shoot? Just how was your shoot fit into this? You're wasting media. Does that make sense? So you need to ask us the people questions that you know will answer this so that people like them, when they see it, they will know that you are the person. That is what we call social proof. Your ability to use, let's say I photograph Miss Tosin, right? And there are people she knows, and there are people that are under her spheres of influence. My job is not to just photograph her and let her go. My job is to make sure that she gives me a testimonial that falls under these three things. Then I'll craft my question in such a way that when she answers it, it will fit into any of this. So when I use her, that's a result. She was satisfied with the service I rendered, right? The final product I gave to her, she was satisfied. If you don't always deliver quality things, this is not for you. This whole conversation is not for you. It's for people that are very serious-minded people. So once I'm done with that, I've gotten her testimonial. My job is to show that testimonial to as many people as possible. So while you are trying to do sponsored ad on your photographs of her, I'm trying to do sponsored ad with the video testimonial that she gave me. People do what other people do. All the people that she has influence on, when they see her say, oh, Mayor is a great guy. The shoot was well. I really enjoyed myself. You know what? I didn't think that was possible, and she delivered it so well and all of that. So guys, I really enjoyed the time. What do you think that would do for people? In fact, let me take you back to the Bible days, 5 minutes now. Even Jesus, my Lord and Savior, needed co-signing. So when you walk around and throw away co-signing, you're messing things up. He said, after he was baptized, God said, this is my beloved son. Hear ye him. Co-signing. So every time a client of that status gives you a testimonial, what they are doing is telling other people, hear ye him. I hope with those few points of mine, I've not been able to confuse you, but I've put you in the right direction so that when you put all of this together, you're not just going to say, I built a portfolio, nobody hired me. You need to think about what is value to them and incorporate that value into what you're building in their portfolio and make it go across from the very point of contact with you to the last point of contact with you, so that the whole coming to you, onboarding them before the dates of the shoot, after the date of the shoot, deliverables and all of that, fits the narrative that you're trying to sell. So thank you so very much, guys, for this session.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll be taking 2 questions from the audience. Her hand was up before I even asked. 2 people had their hands raised. You see, this is survival of the fittest. So we'll be taking her question first.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I want to ask, I've been trying to put this question together in my head, but I know it's just bothering me somehow. If we are putting forward the who, right? And I get someone that wants to book my service, and I go through talking to them, maybe even asking them what do they want to try to achieve. Maybe for some brand, there's even now a brief, right? What did they leverage on before they came to meet me in order for me to design an experience for them?
What do you mean by leverage?
So how do I get a who when there is almost nothing to me to give an account of? I don't know. So as a photographer, right? If maybe there's no portfolio, there's nothing on my Instagram page, for example, there is no track record of anything that I have done. when I approach someone, like how do I sell myself when there is almost nothing to show for it?
Let me give you an example. Case study. Remember I said that as a documentary photographer, nobody hired me for 1 year, 3 months, right? That was because I didn't know who. So I decided to figure out who am I going to serve. And I narrowed them down to non-profits. I said, me, Mayor Otu, I'll be the photographer non-profit goes to. Me. That's the who. And I'll ask myself, what is value to non-profit? 3 things that I came up with. The first thing that a non-profit needs is to create awareness about whatever project they are working on. That's the first thing. The second thing a non-profit wants is to raise more money to continue doing the things that they are doing. Number 2, the third part of that value I thought about it was they need to report back to the people that have donated for them before. So, armed with those 3 information, I now realize that I need to create images or put together in my portfolio images that actually would do numbers. 2, images that will raise money. And 3, storytelling for the people that have donated to them before. So when I'm coming to pitch you, I'm telling you, you know what? These are your pain points. And this is how I would solve it. Does that make sense to you? So with all the photo projects that I had, I only had 1 project out of the 16 or 17 that was able to fit into the new portfolio. And armed with that information, I started then creating personal projects specifically to answer those 3 questions. And every time I work for one nonprofit, I'll ask them for the metrics, right? And some of my personal projects, in a couple of years, between 2019 and 2020, I've raised like 25 million. My personal project gave 3 communities water. So it works. Do you understand? I now use my personal work plus other clients to use it as the social proof. I will do this, I will do this, I will do this. So every time I want to do personal project or take on clients, if they don't fit into those 3 things, I'll rather not do it. But then, SACPA is the real thing. So when I was doing that, I was photographing music artists. Music artists, they have money. So they used to pay me. And I was building that portfolio. But that's how I think about it. I hope that example helped you. Yeah. I think that was the hardest question, I think. Any other person?
Thank you so much. I was actually following your YouTube a few days ago, and
thank you.
You didn't talk about this symbolic part in the video. So
why I didn't talk about it is that a mentor of mine always says that general knowledge does not make you successful. Privileged knowledge does. This is a privileged gathering. That's why you're seeing it.
Yeah.
It's never and will never be on my YouTube channel.
I understand. Thank you
so
much.
You have to clap for the organizer again for making me explain that.
So my question is that, so let's say that you've already done your homework on this symbolic value, and you delivered for somebody. And maybe somebody that saw maybe like the social proof that you talked about, the testimonials, and I want the same experience that so and so person had. And the person comes and you guys go through all the deliberations, you understand the person's dream and everything. And when it came down to the money, the person's budget is an exchange value budget.
I think it was Oluwada Best that said it best here. No pun intended. Oluwada Best saying it best. He said, if the budget to execute it, and I think this is a problem too, which I will make a video about for my YouTube, which is you need to know the business of your business. Most photographers don't know the business of their business. He said, if the total cost is 1 million, and after all I've done and showed the clients expanded the vision, and they only have 100K, I will not put in the 900,000 to make it come to life. Isn't what he said? So if you want all of this, and you also know that it will cost you money to do all of that, and the money that they are offering you cannot do it, it's not for them. Just say them thank you, be professional enough to tell them thank you enough, but for us to work on that project, this is how much we charge for it. And it's okay to advocate for yourself. You know, as photographers, we always play it down when someone, I know a lot of people that when they ask you your price, when you say your price, you now, in the same breath, you say, it's 500,000, but I have another one for 200. In fact, there's another one for 50. Nobody asked you. Be comfortable with silence. Say the price and shut up. And if they cannot afford it and you've done your business and see that, this will not work, let the client know that this will not work. That you are, in plain English, this kind of English, that you're looking forward to having to work with them on the next project that they have, but unfortunately right now we cannot move forward. That's the corporate way of saying,